Cool. Okay. So welcome everyone to the April Keepers meeting. I'm Susan. I'm the community organizer at ATF. I think let's just go around and do introductions really quick. So I will pass to Judy. Do you want to go next? Just name and
Okay.
what neighborhood you're in.
Okay, my name is Judy Mackey, and I'm one of the original Tacony Creek Park keepers, and I'm waiting to see what has happened since we were going to try to get more money for parks and recreation, and I'm eager to hear the news about what's going on. That's all.
Great. Dorian, do you want to go next?
Hello, everyone. I'm Dorian with the TTF Watershed. Excited to be here and hear from all of you. I'm currently in the Cheltenham neighborhood, so I'm really close to the Cheltenham Avenue gateway of Tacony Creek Park. I'll popcorn it off to Marissa.
Hi, I'm Marissa Wilson. I'm with Philadelphia Parks and Recreation. My title is Urban Forestry Community Organizer. I live in West Philly, but I love all the neighborhoods around Tacony Creek Park.
Pam, do you want to go next?
Okay, yeah, this is Pamela, and I'm at the Iron Money Gateway, and I've been with TTF for about maybe 4 years now.
Awesome. Siani, do you want to go next?
Hi everyone, I'm Siani. I'm the keeper with the Iron Ramona Gateway.
Okay, I'm just gonna call on people. Gwen, do you want to go?
Yeah, hi everybody. Sorry, I'm gonna have my camera and mic muted because there's a lot going on right now. But my name is Gwen Espinosa and I live in Almy. And I just love being outside. I love nature and love helping to better the planet. So I'm a park keeper.
Great. Carla, can you go?
Hi, everyone. My name is Carla. I am representing Councilwoman Sherelle Parker's office in this meeting today.
Yes, thank you for being here. And Tawanda, can you go? Tawanda, do you hear me? Okay. Richard, do you want to go?
Hi, my name is Richard Getz. I go by the Vic. I live in the Glenside, Jenkintown area, and I've been a stream keeper for a little over a year.
Awesome. Welcome, everyone. And Gwen just reminded me, Gwen's comment, today is Earth Day. So happy Earth Day, everybody. So yeah, we have a lot to talk about, and Marissa, we invited and is gracious to be here to talk about the urban tree plan. So I'm going to pass it on to Marissa and let her talk about it. Do you need screen sharing power or anything?
Yeah, if you could do that, that'd be awesome. If not, I can just go without slides, but.
All right. Okay, I just made you a co-host, so you should be able to.
Looking good for everyone? Cool. Well, thank you all so much for having me today. I'm really excited to be talking with you all. We partner with TTF a lot, so this is an awesome group that I'm happy that I get to come visit and talk with you. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about the Philly Tree Plan. Philadelphia, the city of Philadelphia is working to develop a 10-year strategic plan for the planting and care of trees in Philadelphia, guided by values of environmental justice, community engagement, and sustainability. So in Philadelphia, healthy, well-cared for trees can do a whole bunch of things for city residents. It's also true outside of city for all of the folks in Cheltenham and elsewhere. But but specifically in Philadelphia, I've talked with residents all across the city of what their experiences have been like with trees. A resident in South Philly told me a story about how her and her neighbors used to get together under the shade of these 3 big trees in a vacant lot. They would get together, they would grill out, talk to their neighbors, hang out. It was an amazing gathering space that they would use in the neighborhood. In this picture, this is my friend, Miss Ruth and Miss Helen. Miss Ruth lives in North Philly, and she tells me about how trees and greening of vacant lots has brought beauty back to her neighborhood, and helped her fight off some of the short dumping that they experience. She tells me stories about how it can be really difficult to live in her neighborhood. It can be really hard. But having trees and doing this greening and planting is bringing hope back and making her want to stay, even though the neighborhood can be really, really difficult to live in sometimes. I've worked in gardens in Southwest Philadelphia, where the community is planting out fruit trees to feed themselves in the neighborhood. In East Fairmount Park right now, a job readiness program, Power Corps, if you're aware of them, they've started planting memorial trees to help them honor the lives of their friends who they've lost to gun violence. Trees can mean a lot to us. They can do a lot for us. But it's really important to acknowledge that trees can also be a source of stress. It can cause problems. People can be wary of trees because of fears of roots getting into their pipes. A tree along the street might be lifting sidewalk, making it difficult for people with mobility issues to get around, or for people who are pushing strollers to get around. Weed trees like the tree of heaven or the princess tree, which I'm sure there are a few of in Tacony Creek Park, they can cause real problems, overgrowing alleyways, making it difficult for people to get around. They can even grow out of people's houses, busting up their foundation. Trees can block streetlights, making streets darker at night. Some of these experiences, they can cause people to have difficult financial situations. They can make it hard for us to get around. They can even make our neighborhood feel less safe for us. Through this plan, we want to work with and hear from communities all across Philadelphia to hear about your experiences, so that we can take those awesome experiences and celebrate them, and then also work to listen and address the problems or concerns you have around trees. We want to make sure that trees are working for Philadelphians in the best way they possibly can, and that we are providing the resources and support needed to have good relationships with trees. So we're getting input in a lot of ways. I'm here today because you all are experts in your own neighborhood, and we want to hear from you. We're going to be listening to you so that we can work hand in hand to help you achieve the environment that you want and deserve to live in. The easiest way to tell us what you need is by completing this public survey, and I'm going to throw the link into the chat after I finish sharing my screen. The survey is going to ask a lot of different questions. It'll say things like, do you think that trees are valuable? Why or why not? What tree problems do you experience in your neighborhood? Would you support a policy, maybe like the city pays for the cost of repair for damage caused by trees to sidewalks and utilities? And do you want programs like maybe a green jobs training or family activities for you and your neighbors? Completing the survey is going to be really helpful for us to get a better sense of what people in Philadelphia want. It'll also give us statistics so that we can take those statistics and take it to policymakers and people in funding sources and advocate for policies and programs down the line. We have also hired ambassadors in 5 different neighborhoods around Philadelphia to do deeper dives to learn a little bit more. I'm not entirely sure if Kensington falls within the Tacony Creek watershed, but we have 5 ambassadors from that neighborhood that we've hired as well. There's also a photo contest where you can take a photo that tells your Philly tree story and then hashtag it, hashtag Philly tree stories, and post it on Instagram for a chance to win $200. I'm here taking note of anything that you tell me in this meeting, things that you like about trees, things you don't like about trees, questions you have, things that are happening in your neighborhood that you think trees can help celebrate. So we're taking all of this information, and by listening to you and by you telling us what you need, we're able to write a plan that tells City Council to pass policies that address past harms and supports you into the future. It's gonna allow us to write a plan that supports communication and collaboration between residents in the city in the way that you all want to be collaborated with. It'll help us fund programs that invest money back into neighborhoods that have faced disinvestment. And it also, once the plan is written, we can all work together to make sure that it's implemented. In September, after we finish collecting all of this initial information, we're gonna make a draft of the plan, and we're gonna take it back to you all and say, did we listen well enough? And you have the opportunity to say, yes, you heard me here. This is exactly what I need. Or you didn't really listen to me and I need you to listen to me and I need you to make a change here. And we're gonna go back to it. We're gonna take that feedback. We'll go back to the drafting board. And we're gonna incorporate that in as well. So you have the opportunity to tell us now, and you're gonna have the opportunity to check in with us again later. So that's pretty much it. And I would love if we have time to hear a little bit about what you all think, what you want for Tacony Creek Park, what kind of support you would want with the plan as well, or if you just have questions for me.
Yeah, thanks, Marissa. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Just jump in.
I could jump in real quick. Thanks again for that presentation. I actually did fill out the survey, so I had some comments there, but I did have literally an hour ago a conversation with another neighbor, talking about the trees in the neighborhood. To kind of put into perspective, I'm 22. When I was born, like on this block, it used to be completely tree lined. Now there's only like 2 trees. One of them being mine, the other one is pretty much about to go. So there's definitely, I see that perception in the neighborhood of just people like being concerned about, the roots and all that, as well as, fixing up the sidewalk afterwards, and that kind of responsibility kind of deterring people from being willing to like plant street trees. So I mean, at least for like my block, like it looks so much more beautiful, having, those trees. And frankly, now like the air just isn't as fresh. It's definitely hotter, but there definitely is that need for more education in the area. But, I'm all for trees. But I would say like definitely there's definitely been a significant loss of trees in my section of Juniata. So, if there's any way, to like work with you guys on trying to like, educate people more and getting those trees, that would be really excellent. I don't want to go off too much since I did fill out the survey, so I put my comments there, but those are definitely the issues where you see those really cracked sidewalks and people not wanting to be responsible or deal with the leaves afterwards. I also will take a moment because I know you talked about Kensington. I'm on staff for Kensington Voice, which is an online news outlet there. So I'll drop my info in the chat, so you can feel free to reach out to me for any promotional materials. So like I'll balance off between Juniata and Kensington with promotion for that survey.
Yeah, that's excellent. And yeah, we have a press release and a bunch of social media and newsletter kind of information that I'd love to send to you. And those are all really, really, really good points, and something we hear a lot, that, trees used to be on blocks, but when it's a financial hardship or it takes a lot of time for people to care for trees, or if they're concerned about the liability of a tree falling, people don't want to plant trees. They don't want to replace trees that come down. And so absolutely, I'm taking all this in, I'm writing it down, that we need more educational programs to get people knowing what benefits trees can give, and also that we need support for folks so that they don't have to deal and have that financial consequence for having a tree. Any other thoughts?
Yes, I had a thought. I had just had to unmute, so I kind of lost it for a minute. But the financial responsibility of a tree, even if it's perfectly taken care of, you're suddenly liable when we have a hurricane. Like the last hurricane we have, not only uprooted a lot of trees in the park, but it uprooted trees on people's streets in Juniana, trees that had been there for a very long time. And then they had to pay to have it hauled off. So it's, and then they were treeless. And then it's like you have all that work that they took care of their tree was like for nothing. There's no kind of insurance. I was thinking if it might be possible if the city could have some kind of insurance, either that we pay a very minimal amount for or free, that would cover the trees the way the city and Maria's office encouraged us homeowners to get water line insurance for the pipes that run between our houses and the streets, which are not insured by the regular house insurance companies. And so I pay something like $8 a month, and so do many, many other Philadelphia residents, to insure the water lines, which are very old and are breaking all over the city, the ones that go between our house and the street. And that's worked out well, I think, for some people. I mean, I had already had that happen before they made that insurance, and so I had to pay something like $3,000, which it took me a long time to pay off to pay for that, and I really couldn't afford it. But if I had had that insurance at that time, that would have saved me that money. And that's if there could be that kind of insurance for trees, I think you might get a lot more people willing to take the chance.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That is an excellent idea, and that's something that we are exploring and is part of the survey as well. One of the questions actually explicitly asks if people would be in support of having something like that. And to your other point, hurricanes and extreme storms are becoming more and more common. And one of the things that we're thinking about with this plan right now, there's a list of specific trees that are appropriate to plant in the sidewalk. And one of the things we're thinking about is updating that list, taking climate change into consideration, not just bringing up more trees from the south that are that can survive in this warmer weather. Some areas of Philadelphia are 20 degrees hotter than others. Thinking about how our growing zones are shifting, bringing those trees up, but also thinking about what trees can withstand hurricanes, what trees can withstand extreme drought, and updating it to think about those things and try to create, do more tree plantings that won't lead to trees falling apart in storms as much.
It's when I know that, like, for me to get the street tree that I have to replace my tree that died, I had to make an application. And when I tried to give these applications to other people, they didn't want to hear it because of all the problems you just mentioned. And because they felt that even if that was all paid for by somebody, if they planted another tree, the same thing was going to happen. So this idea about the climate change trees, if that could be included on any applications you make for people to apply to get street trees from the city, to tell the people that they would be planting trees that are resistant to these things, so they won't have to worry about that, because they do worry about that. I had people refuse the applications because of that. So, that the trees are not going to fall on their houses and crush their roofs, and that's the thing that they're really scared of, in addition to all the other problems.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm writing it all down. I love these ideas of both telling people when they get the tree or when they're applying, this is what things are, and this is why we made these decisions, and then also offering an insurance program so that if something does happen, because you can never predict anything, that's why we have insurance, that they also would be covered. I love that.
There's one more thing too. I mean, I'm 73, so I remember when I was growing up, the trash collection was much different. They had a driver who only drove the trash truck, And then they had 2 people who were loading the trash into the trash truck, and then a 4th person who swept up afterwards. And when they swept up afterwards, the street was like pristine clean. And they were sweeping up the leaves too. And I mean, people put out the leaves in bags, like they did do that, but any loose leaves and stuff that would collect that would clog up the sewers, which is the other problem that people were complaining about, that the leaves would fall, they weren't home, they couldn't clean it up, it would clog up the sewers, and then their basements would flood, especially the people in the corner houses. So if there could be some kind of addition to the streets department that would help people clean up their leaves, like along with the trash pickup or something, they're going to clean up what leaves are left, which they don't do. There are no sweepers on trucks anymore. Now it's just a couple of guys, and I think one of them is a driver too. I don't know. They cut the trash collectors in half. So if we could have some kind of initiative to get some kind of help with the leaves, because we can't, if we plant enough trees to make a difference, we're going to have leaves that are going to clog up the sewers. So that's like another problem. But again, this is more like hiring people, hiring more jobs, which would be great. I mean, if we could get a grant to hire people for these kind of positions, I think the federal government might help us with that, because it would be providing employment.
Yeah, absolutely. These are all amazing ideas, and some of the things that we think about with this plan, it doesn't have to stick just, we're collaborating across a lot of departments and across a lot of state and city agencies. So yeah, I like that idea of supporting street sweeping, or advocating for that as well, because I wrote down the exact quote of, if we plant enough trees to make a difference, we're gonna have to deal with the leaves. I love that. And we need to be responsible and think about what we're doing, to have plans for maintenance and for care of the trees, and also for sweeping up the leaves so that it doesn't all fall on the homeowner.
I love the idea of a green jobs program. Also, Marissa, I want to highlight in the chat, Siani mentioned the issue of language accessibility with some of this paperwork and other, whole process.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for raising that. I'm like trying to read and talk at the same time, so that's really helpful for you to call that out. Yeah, thank you. We do need more accessibility. I'm happy to say that this survey at least is in 9 languages, and hopefully that's a step and a precedent that we're setting into the future for making all of these things more accessible for Philadelphians who don't speak or don't read English.
Great. Does anyone else have comments or questions for Marissa while she's here?
I have a comment.
Go ahead, Pam.
My comment is the area we live in, they had planted really huge trees in our block, and especially the block Judy lives in. And a lot of those trees have died, and they would, they would fall down, and it would be a whole lot of leaves which nobody was cleaning up. But if some of the people could understand that the trees that would be planted now would be much smaller, and that if we could get people, like maybe give our flyers door to door to the neighbors that live in this block, to get people to come out and just sweep up in front of their house, which even without the trees is something that I thought about doing anyway, because people don't sweep up. But if we can get people to take more time and just clean up in front of their house, like maybe the day before trash comes, and that would be a big help with the trash and everything, and with the leaves that would fall off the trees.
Yeah, education around cleaning generally, cleaning and greening come hand in hand so often. I like that idea, and I like the variety of approaches that we could have too, and that they don't have to be just one. We can have multiple going at once, both educational programs to get people to do some of that cleaning that I especially hear from folks who've lived in Philly for a while, that used to be more of a practice in Philadelphia, and it's not necessarily anymore. But doing that, and then also having more of like a green jobs core to go through, and like with the streets department and help take care of the areas that are missed by residents. I think those are all great ideas.
I was thinking that the water department, you know, if they want to spread out the jobs more, that they create across more departments, because sometimes they hesitate to give all the jobs to like one department and leave another one without the jobs. They could give some of the leaf cleaning jobs to the water department, which could be in charge of the sewers, to clean the leaves out of the sewers, which is a whole separate thing in itself. A really big problem that gets so completely clogged, at least they used to when we had trees here. And you know, the streets department used to clean the street of the leaves, but not the sewers. So when the sewers would get clogged, we'd have to call the water department, and they'd have to come and get the leaves out of the sewers. But if we had a department just that went all around the city, you know, so that each neighborhood it hit, you know, every month one neighborhood or another, until it covered the city, and then went around again. And all it did was clean the sewers out of all the leaves. That would be a big help. Because people are terrified of flooding in the basements, which some neighborhoods have as a regular thing, unfortunately. But that would be a big help. And then they could give jobs to both the water department and the streets department.
Yeah, those are great ideas. And we've also talked, you know, SEPTA has issues when the leaves fall. I'm in West Philly, so I know that this happens all the time in West Philly, but the leaves fall and they make the tracks of the trolley slippery, and that's an issue for SEPTA. But so maybe even jobs go to SEPTA to help clean up along trolley routes or something like that. How could we create these kinds of positions in a lot of different departments? That would probably also help with budgets.
Yeah, that I think it's spreading it out would be a good idea.
Yeah. Great.
Anyone else have anything else? We have a lot of other things to talk about. So if did you share the survey, Marissa?
I'll throw it up there again.
We'll email it out. You can take the survey.
Susan?
Yes.
All right. This is Gwen. Can I say something really quick? Because I know you
Yeah,
have to move
absolutely.
on.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna emphasize that when we moved into Alney, our property has tons of trees on it. And then I remember driving around Alney because we lived there years ago in an apartment. And when we came back, I was like, wait a minute, where are all the trees? Because I remember there being trees everywhere. So apparently my block had trees that were all, you know, had to be taken down for different reasons, if they were sick or, you know, breaking into the basement and different issues. And so I'm dealing with the same thing now. I'm like, we want the whole block to have trees, and everybody else is like terrified of trees. So I just wanted to emphasize that I'm dealing with the same thing. I have 2 street trees that I got, and then I also have some trees that I got, the yard trees. And I just wanted to say, ditto, I agree with the whole kind of having a plan to help people once they have their trees. Because like right now I'm dealing with a tree that I was actually going to ask you guys if you know, like, does the city have any programs for like arborists that actually come out to see if your tree is needing to be cut down because it's dead? Because I'm dealing with a tree that I think is sick right now. But like all the things that come along with taking care of trees, it can be overwhelming. So I love trees and I want them, but I'm just emphasizing that I think it is a good idea. It would be very helpful to have some type of program or something in place to help those people that actually do get trees to be able to feel like it's not overwhelming and we have support in that.
Yeah, absolutely. For your tree that's sick or not doing well, is it planted in the sidewalk or in your yard?
It's in my yard. It's a dogwood tree.
Okay. The city doesn't have a program that at the moment, you know, all of this, the exciting thing about the Philly tree plan is that everything I tell you right now about how things are right now doesn't mean it has to be like this forever. And So the city right now doesn't come out and look at trees on private property. I will say that there is a disease that affects flowering dogwoods. A lot of these other kinds of dogwoods, like Tree Philly gives out, if you've gotten trees from Tree Philly gives out like Coosa dogwoods and pagoda dogwoods. And there's another one that I'm forgetting right now, but the big flowering dogwoods that are kind of the most common that you see, they are being, the reason why Tree Philly doesn't give them out in part is because they are being affected by a disease right now.
Okay.
So it's possible that it's not doing well and is sick. I can help you, or I can help you look at the arborists list to see if maybe someone can come out and do an assessment for you. Unfortunately, it's not something that, like, a cost that the city covers right now. But there are other cities in the United States that have programs for an arborist to come out and remove dead or diseased trees and replace them. And so
wow.
that is a model that there's a precedent that exists. And if we hear enough from Philadelphians that that's something that they want, we'll look into including it in the plan.
Yeah, that would be
You could.
amazing, because I know a lot, like our neighbors just got rid of a huge, beautiful tree, and it costs like thousands of dollars to do it. So I know that's another thing that would be amazing if we had that in Philly.
Yeah.
Could I get in contact with you somehow to
Yes.
get the list?
Here, if anybody has questions, if you can't get it in today, if you think of it later, I'm dropping my contact information in the chat. Just marissa.wilson@phila.gov. The only funky thing is that my name has one S in Marissa. But feel free to email me at any point if you have any kinds of questions about trees at all in Philadelphia, and I can either answer it or direct you towards someone who can. And I'm also, y'all have other things to talk about, but I'm going to be here in the chat. So feel free to throw everything there.
Awesome. And I'll send your info out too after the meeting. And yeah, I really encourage everyone to fill out the survey because it sounds like a great opportunity to really voice kind of, I lost my train of thought, like the wish list, you know, all what we really, really want to see trees being used for, yeah. So, all right, let's move on. I want to highlight, since Pete and Montez just joined the chat, do you guys want to talk about, you had some exciting like filming in the park over the weekend. Do you want to talk about that? I'm not even entirely sure what this is about. Pete or Montez? No.
Well, me and Pete just we met up with Trail Philly or Trails Philly, and I guess we just did like a meet our park situation. It was pretty cool though. Yeah, it was just like a lot of local history and just talking about the trail.
Yeah, it was a circuit trails group. So Julie set it up. I mean, they're going to be doing videos all over the area. So, but Julie knows them, so she got us in first. So, you know, it was kind of like a commercial. You know, we both had to say like, I'm Pete Carter, and I love the Tacony Creek Park, and I love circuit trails or whatever. So, and what we liked about the park and cool experiences we had. Like I talked about when I saw a bald eagle and stuff like that. And, you know, and then she like, you know, did pictures of her, like our feet walking and, you know, the kind of the standard little commercial type stuff. I didn't have to advertise any like, you know, laundry detergent or anything. But other than that, it was pretty cool.
Awesome. Yeah. So this Saturday, is it Saturday, Dorian, is Celebrate Trails Day? So yes, so Rails to Trails was filming promotional video, and Pete and Montez were able to participate and they'll be using the videos to share the circuit trails and Tacony Creek Park. So that's very exciting. And then in some other exciting news, we found out from Parks and Rec today that new circuit trail signs were installed along the trail. So that is very cool. And they have our new logo. So keep an eye out for them. That's very, very cool. What else? What's next? Florian, do you want to talk about the vaccine clinic?
Yeah, so we have some exciting news. We had a conversation with staff from the Esperanza Health Center, and they are working diligently to be able to provide COVID vaccines to a lot of the neighborhoods that have been greatly affected around neighborhoods around Tacony Creek Park. And so they have a form that if you're a Philadelphia resident, all you have to do is sign up on the form and they will get you an appointment within the week, maybe even sooner than that, to get a COVID-19 vaccine. So we're partnering with them to get the word out on that initiative. And so if you are interested in getting vaccinated, or you know someone that hasn't gotten vaccinated yet, you can reach out. Susan, would you be the best person to reach out to? Yes.
Yes,
Reach out to
and
Susan.
let me put my email.
I'm sorry, was that a question?
No, he's just making a comment on the side. He didn't realize that you could hear him. He was just talking to me.
Oh.
But so this vaccine clinic thing is being done for Juniata area, or if it's through our park group. I'm not sure I understand who's doing this exactly.
It's the Esperanza Health Center, and
okay.
Yeah, and so they are promoting it widely, but we're helping them to really get the word out specifically for neighborhoods around Tacony Creek Park, such as Juniata and Frankfurt and Feltonville. A lot of those neighborhoods, I think vaccinations are still low. So we'll be putting up lawn signs soon that has more information with the schedule of when is the best time to go. And there are certain times in the day where also walk-ins are accepted, yes. But if you're interested in getting vaccinated, and help us get the word out as well, just contact Susan. You can even call our number, and we'll put you in touch with Esperanza Health.
Yeah, we're helping set those appointments up. It's very exciting. So yeah, definitely spread the word if you or someone you know hasn't been vaccinated yet. Did you have another question, Judy, or was that it?
No, that was the shots would be given at the Esperanza Health Center?
Yes.
Okay. That's all.
Okay. And I also want to share Love Your Park Love Your Park, if you don't know, is a week-long celebration of parks. And as some of you know, Tacony Creek Park has been chosen as the signature site this year, which is very cool, which means that on Saturday, May 8th, the kickoff event for Love Your Park will be at Tacony Creek Park. We're going to have a big cleanup and tree planting, and there's usually a press conference. The mayor comes, the commissioner of the Parks Department comes. We've invited Trail Parkers office and Maria Quinones Sanchez's office as well. And I want to share the link because registration to volunteer is now open. So I'm sharing the link now. We're going to be at Tabor and Alney, do tree planting and trash pickup and, general weeding and invasive removal. And yeah, so that will be on what time? On Saturday, May 8th at 10 a.m. So you have to register through this site because the Parks Department is handling it. So yeah, sign up. We really, really want to see people from the neighborhood come out. We're getting a lot of new trees and a lot of attention and cool projects. So it's an exciting event.
So this
Anyone
is
have
just
any
at Tabor and Almy. It's not nothing at Iron Ramona, is that right?
So if you want to do a cleanup or something at Iron Ramona, we can, on that day, we can definitely set something up. But the official launch event is at Tabor and Almy. But we definitely
Okay.
encourage neighbors in other parts of the park, if you want to do something on that day, to go for it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's also, I would mention, it is Love Your Park week, so it doesn't all have to be on that Saturday, May 8th. I mean, that's the kickoff to the week, and cleanup events will be happening, that can happen between May 8th and May 16th, I believe. So we could
Yeah,
add.
that's a good point. It's a whole week. So if you want to do a cleanup in your neighborhood, let us know and we'll definitely help promote it or put it on, get you guys some trash bags and pickers and things.
Okay, just writing this down.
I have a question about the trees that's going to be planted on May the 8th. I wanted to know what kind of trees.
I don't know because Parks and Rec will be providing them. Marissa, I don't know if you have any idea.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Yeah, if you contact Fairmount Park Conservancy, or unless you're getting the trees from Tree Philly, but they'll be able to.
Okay.
Email me and I can find out. I'll help you.
Now, Fairmount Park Conservancy, they'll be providing the trees for the Saturday, May 8th tree planting.
I believe so, because Parks and Rec is working with them. They work with them for Love Your Park Week.
We're buddies.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say one more thing about that application for getting a street tree, which I actually had to do. I made them call me. I called the Fairmount Park Commissioner, made an arborist call me because I was very concerned about what kind of tree they were going to plant, because they don't tell you in the application. And I actually had to talk with him for a while to find out what kinds of possible trees he could be planting. He told me several kinds. And I told him whatever he planted, because sometimes all you get is kind of a big branch and you don't know what it's going to be. I asked him to provide me a little, a little printout of what this tree was and how big it was going to be, what it was going to look like and stuff, which he was kind enough to do. He actually sent me a little picture of what the tree was going to look like and how big it was going to get and how long it would take to mature and that it had flowers and all that kind of stuff, just a printout from a book somewhere. And if you could provide people who are applying for street trees with either a choice of tree that they could choose, because he let me kind of choose. I told him I didn't want a ginkgo, which leaves rotten fruit on the ground, but I wanted anything else but that kind of tree. And he mentioned several different kinds of trees, and I actually kind of picked one, and he actually gave me one of the ones I picked. But if people had a choice like that given to them at the beginning, instead of having to worry about what am I going to get, that just adds to their worry and concern about should they even bother with this. And then you have that page be like a description of how trouble-free the tree is. That would really help. Or even if they could choose which one they want, a pink one or a white one, or, I got a white one, my neighbor got a pink one, she got a pink cherry and I got a white Juneberry tree. People could just have some kind of choice and feel like they have some kind of control over this. It's the lack of control that makes people get very anxious, especially when it comes to their homes. That's your biggest investment in your life. So that would be very helpful. What he did for me by me requesting it repeatedly should be on every application, just as part of the application.
Yeah, I like that. Having a choice. Absolutely, that a house is the biggest investment you make. You don't want to gamble with it. Yeah.
It can make you homeless, actually, if things go wrong with the plumbing and stuff. So people aren't prepared for that, especially these days.
Cool. Okay. That is a great point, Judy. So moving on, another update we did want to share, Nate, who was our stewardship manager, is no longer with TTF. And we have hired a new stewardship manager. His name is Alex, and he will be starting on Monday. And Dorian, maybe you can talk a little bit more, because I don't know Alex, but TTF does. So why don't you, talk about Alex a little bit?
Definitely. So Alex is certainly not a stranger to TTF. I'm sure most of you have had the pleasure of meeting him. He started up as a fellow ambassador from PowerCorps a few years back, and was with TTF helping as a fellow ambassador with Tacony Creek Park. And so now we're really happy to have him being on board official TTF staff. And there's actually a video too on our website with people of the park. And so he's featured on one of those videos where he talks about Tacony Creek Park and the trail. So for those of you that haven't met him yet, we hope that you will meet him soon. And once he gets started, he will be sure to get in touch with everyone and other members of the Tacony Creek Park Keepers, so that we can keep working on improving and beautifying and keeping the park wonderfully beautiful for everybody.
So he's a permanent staff member now?
Yes, he's full-time staff for TTF now.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Alex is a wonderful guy. I'm so glad you did that. I'm so glad you hired him.
Indeed.
Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to meet him. I haven't met him. But yeah,
He's
so that's
great. You'll love him.
Give hugs
This is
again.
what
I
everyone
want to
says.
give him a hug. I want to give him a hug.
I know, we can hug soon, hopefully, fingers crossed. When, that's everyone's reaction when they find out. So that's a good sign. So another update I want to share. TTF is part of some legal action that's being led by Penn Future, which is a statewide environmental advocacy group. They mostly do legal challenges. As you may know, a couple years ago, Philadelphia City Council passed a ban on plastic bags. And then what the state legislature did was to pass a ban on localities banning plastic bags. Basically, they passed a law. They passed a law saying, cities and municipalities can't ban this, which obviously affects Philly. And we were the only, as far as I know, we're the only municipality in Pennsylvania that had at that point passed a ban. So it's being challenged on a couple legal bases. And TTF is part of that. And so what we're going to be really looking for is public comments from neighbors, from people who live in Philadelphia, who live near the park, talking about the impact of plastic bag, litter in the sewer, in the park, in the streets, getting caught on trees and everything like that. And if you have pictures of examples of this that you want to share, you can send them to us and we'll pass them along. I'm not sure quite yet exactly how we're collecting those comments, but I want to put it on everyone's radar. If you are interested in sharing your comments or experiences or any pictures, we will be asking for those shortly. So does anyone have questions?
I'll add it to my list of things to take pictures of. There's lots of plastic bag birds in the trees down in the park. So
I know.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Amazing how high they can fly.
I know, it's wild. All right. And I do want to say that, no. Okay. Then, so I think it was earlier this week. Oh my God, I have no sense of time. It was this week. It was Wednesday. Was it Wednesday? Julie and I met with Carla and Kiasha at Trail Parker's office to talk about ATVs and public safety in the park. And it was a really, really productive conversation. I don't know if Carla, you want to say anything? I thought it was very productive. The office, I just want everyone to know the office is working on short-term and long-term solutions, different things that can't really be publicized yet, but the office is fully aware of this as an issue in the park, in the neighborhood, as a nuisance, as a public safety issue. They're aware of the accident with the little girl. They've passed on, they've public, they put out our statement, and are aware, as we've been saying, that this is a citywide issue that needs a broader citywide response. So we were very excited and very pleased with that conversation. So thank you, Carla, and to the rest of the office for giving us that time.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to disclose too much until we actually start working on it, but we definitely are aware of the issue, and we are trying to resolve it in the best way possible.
And so let's talk about some program updates. We had our first virtual yoga last week. I know Siani was there. Do you want to share what your thoughts were?
Yeah, it was definitely a great first session to have. It's, nothing too wild poses that you're able to do. And if there's some that you can't, you don't have to do it. Some twists I was not doing, but I did my best. But it's a good length, those 30 minutes. And Jenna's great. I know her, and, she's been really excited to be able to instruct these yoga sessions. So I'm really excited that once we're at a point to transition to in-person, I think it's going to be really great. And I know there were some folks who were really interested in having these yoga sessions in the past. So it's great to kind of see that all come to fruition. But it was definitely a really great session. And Jenna told me there's another one coming up virtually.
Yeah, so our plan is to do 2 more virtual sessions this Saturday, the 24th, and the following Saturday, May 1st. At 11 a.m. They're 30 minutes. And then our plan is to try and find a location to do in-park nature yoga on, what is that second Saturday? May 15th. So that is the goal. And that would be a longer 45-minute session. So if you're interested, if you have any recommendations or suggestions on a location, if one area is more convenient to you, definitely let us know. We want this to be accessible, and it'll be, socially distanced and all that. So we're very excited. Jenna was great.
There's a stretch of grass along H Street right near I and Ramona that doesn't have trees. It's it's a flat space. It's between Wyoming Avenue and Ramona's Avenue on H Street. That might be a good place to spread out and have a flat place to do it, because most of the park is not flat. It's up and down and has trees and mounds of grass and things like that in it, but that's a flat space, and it's right near the gateway at I and Ramona. Suggesting that as a place.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Judy. We'll check that out.
Yeah, I would also say like that patch, like right there, like from H and Ramona, specifically on Ramona, like since that is directly next to the gateway, but if we wanted to, it would be convenient to me, that's for sure. But if we wanted to put it like more like inside the park itself, I was like trying to think maybe like around, I think it's the Bingham Gateway where the deer artwork is. Like I feel like that space like is pretty open enough that like, you know, it's still inside the park rather than a little bit outside where the like that little patch of Ramona is. And maybe like, you know, it could rotate on like a monthly basis or something. Like this month we'll be at Bingham and then next month we're on Whitaker. So just depending how many sessions there are each month and, you know, what are kind of the best spots for that particular activity, maybe that could be on a rotating basis.
Yeah, I really like that idea to rotate throughout the park. And our goal is to do it weekly. Jenna is very enthusiastic about making this a weekly thing. So, you know, if we can make it work, we're going to make it work.
Do we have anybody that would do Tai Chi? When you were talking about this yoga session, I was just remembering all over the world, people do Tai Chi outside and they do it every morning. It's like much more regular than once a week. I was just, if we, and other people join because they see it, it's very out in the open.
Yeah.
And they do it in parks. You know, if we could make that kind of exercise like yoga and Tai Chi, these kinds of things, where people could see it, that they could join in regularly, you know, that would be great. I mean, it's already something that they're used to seeing on TV, people doing.
That's true. I live by Clark Park and I see people doing Tai Chi often. I once saw a Zumba class in Clark Park. So the possibilities are endless.
Judy?
Yes.
I do Tai Chi.
You do Tai Chi?
Oh, really?
You do it well enough to lead a session? Could you lead a session?
I have done it before. I would need to like have a mountain to be able to say yes to that question.
Okay, so I'm hearing some interest in Tai Chi. All right. We can definitely make this happen. Dorian, do you want to talk about WeWalk? Because we have some updates there.
Yes, so I have exciting news. So Bethany has been leading the Monday morning WeWalk starting at Tabor Gateway from 11 a.m. to 12. The one update starting on May 1st, from May 1st to June 30th, that walk will continue to be at Tabor Road Gateway, but it will now be Mondays at 9 a.m., 9 to 10. But the other exciting news is that we have a leader for the Saturday walks starting at Iron Ramona. Finally, officially, yes. So his name is Thomas, and he will be also be joined by his wife, Savannah, during the WeWalk season. They're starting this Saturday, the 24th, and it's great because since the 24th is Celebrate Trails Day, it also works in conjunction of like come outside and let's celebrate trails together. It's also the kickoff of the TTF Watershed BioBlitz event. And Thomas and both Savannah, they use iNaturalist frequently, so they're able to also give a quick tutorial. And so while you do a fitness walk, you can also catalog and observe some wildlife species along the way, starting at Iron Ramona. Those are going to be Saturdays at Iron Ramona at 10:30. So from 10:30 to
every Saturday.
Yes, every Saturday from 10:30 to 11:30 at Iron Ramona, and then every Monday, starting on May 1st, not May 1st, May 3rd, every Monday at 9 a.m. at Tabor Road Gateway. I believe for between May 1st and June 30th, there is a Give Pulse link where you can sign up. That Fairmont Park Conservancy is, they have a Facebook group where they'll have the schedule, so you can sign up and say, I can attend all these walks, or you could do it on a, one-time basis. But likewise, you could also email me and let me know, oh, I'm joining, and then I can connect you directly with either Bethany or Thomas for those wee walks.
So you have to register first?
Yes, but you could just, I told Thomas that not everyone has access to computers and won't be able to register. So if you are committed to attending some of the Saturdays, or say, oh, I want to go on this Saturday, like I'll connect you with Thomas so that he can communicate with you via text for both you and Pam.
Okay, and what is that app? It's iNature. What is that app that we're going to be using on this walk? These walks?
Yeah, do you want to talk a little, explain what BioBlitz is and iNaturalist?
Yeah.
iNaturalist. Okay.
It's called iNaturalist, and it's an app that you can download on a smartphone. And it's, what's wonderful about it is, let's say you're walking on the trail and you see a beautiful flower and you're like, oh, that looks beautiful. What is that? And so iNaturalist is like a wildlife encyclopedia in your pocket. So once you download the application on your phone, you can take a picture of the flower or the insect or the animal. And then what it does is that it'll give you suggestions to help you identify what the name of the flower is, a flower or a tree. So with that, as you take a picture, you're also helping to add to the database, because if you have your location services on your phone, it pinpoints, okay, this flower is in this area in the world. So it's adding, you just helped identify a flower species and where it's located in the world. So you can then, based on the suggestions that the application tells you, is like, okay, well, this looks like it could be a buttercup, an example. So you can kind of checkpoint that and say it's a buttercup. And then what happens is there'll be other scientists that could log in and see this database of observations that anyone has made. And they can confirm and say, oh, yes, that is a buttercup, or they can adjust it and say, no, it's not a buttercup, it's actually this other thing. So that observation you made could be scientifically confirmed and backed up. And this is something that we've been doing every year. A BioBlitz is just kind of like an invitation to have as many of us just go outside and download the app and take pictures and observe as much wildlife as we can, so that we can see what lives in our watershed, what's living in our neighborhood. And so we're doing that. So that's the idea of the BioBlitz. So for an entire week, starting on Saturday, the 24th, up until May 3rd, we're encouraging everyone to just, observe as much as you can. And the unique thing about this is also at the end of that week, from April 27th to May 3rd, is also the week of the City Nature Challenge, where Philadelphia is participating to compete with other cities worldwide to see which city has the most species observed and the most participants contributing to this database. So there's prizes involved, I believe, for the Philadelphia. I think for the City Nature Challenge, or maybe the Philadelphia, there'll be prizes and giveaways for those that have the most observations. I think so. It's really fun. And that's, if you don't have any experience with it, that's something that Thomas could help you with on Saturday. But we also have webinars on our website with videos that kind of shows you what the process is, how to open an account, and how to join the TTF BioBlitz project to be able for you to chip in and add observations of what you see within the TTF watershed.
Well, this first Saturday walk is this Saturday. This is Thursday. It's in like 2 days.
Yes, but the BioBlitz will start Saturday, but then it'll continue for the entire week. So you can use that application. You can also take photos on a regular camera and just upload them on a computer on the iNaturalist website. So it doesn't all have to be through your smartphone. So you can add any observations made between April 24th and May 3rd will count.
So iNaturalist also has a website.
Yes.
And is it inaturals.org or what is it?
That's a good question.
It's inaturalist.org.
Okay. Thank you, Susan.
Yeah, the website and the webinar are in the comments.
Yeah, Pete just shared Ryan's webinar. It's a really fun app. You learn a lot about what's around you.
I think those are all the updates that I had regarding upcoming programs. I guess the only other thing I wanted to mention is if you haven't had a chance yet to walk along, from Tabor Gateway all the way to Rising Sun, there's really some beautiful woven sculptures along the trail there. So I invite you to experience that.
Are they permanent?
They are temporary, and I want to thank Montez. Thank you. Have you seen what it turned into? Montez was one of the volunteers that helped us collect and gather a lot of the vines, the invasive vines from the trees, and that same invasive vine material was used by artist Sarah Cabbage and her 2 assistants to weave like a basket weave. She made these beautiful shapes, and that she draped along certain areas along the trail. So they're temporary in the sense that because they're just made of natural materials, they'll last as long as it will last. So it may wear down with time, as with any natural material. So I encourage you to go out and see it in person.
It sounds really cool.
They are
Very
very
cool.
Yeah, they're beautiful. Definitely recommend getting out there.
Yeah, we'll post a blog soon too with the pictures so that you could see how they turned out too. So stay tuned for that.
That'll be on your website?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't have any updates either. I think that's everything. So Siani, I know you wanted to mention something about safe disposal.
Yeah, so I've noticed in a few of the last cleanups that we've, unfortunately found some used syringes kind of hidden in the grass, not an overwhelming amount at least, but, they're still there. And, we try the best we can if we find a bottle that we could at least put the syringe in. So if we are putting it in the trash, that won't poke any of the sanitation workers, but, that's obviously still not the best. So I was just trying to reach out to see if there's any way of getting, TTF possibly some bins to put those sharps, since we're dealing with biohazardous waste. I know Prevention Point does provide some of those small bins for free. I also reached out to SUPER, so it's the Substance Use Prevention and Harm Reduction. Still getting some more info on that. I don't think we would really need like the bin drop, the big drop bins that they have. You see the red ones are kind of around Kensington, because they would monitor that themselves, but I don't think we're at that point yet. But in terms of, I think we could work with them on providing some of those to use at cleanup, so we have the proper materials on hand, so that way we're not just taking these syringes and kind of just tossing them in a bag improperly, and maybe to try to get maybe like a keeper, like a training for the keepers on how to deal with these sharps and other biohazardous waste when dealing with the cleanups. So still waiting to hear back on the details on that, but I just wanted to get the jump on that initiative because recognizing the problem is there, and we just want to make sure how we're continuing to protect ourselves when we're doing the cleanup, but also keeping our neighbors like in the know, like if they find these type of materials, what's the proper way to dispose of that. So I'll continue to share updates on that. I'm also still on the hunt for info when it comes to putting little free library boxes. I reached out to Tiny WPA, who makes a bunch of different projects, including little free libraries, but I hadn't heard back from them. Like there's a few options. The official Little Free Library website, they have their kits, but I will acknowledge on the pricey side. So we want to work on the budget. If y'all know some carpenters or something who want to get some money by doing a project, maybe hit us up. But it would be great to kind of supplement the Story Along the Trails program while also having these little free library boxes just around the gateway as a little cute addition. So those are kind of things that have been on my radar. And yesterday, at least in the Juniata section, there was a community meeting with Councilwoman Quinones's office. So I, put on the radar kind of like, if all the dumping and trash that's kind of surrounding Tacony Creek Park. So I'm hoping to set up some more meetings there. So those are kind of my quick updates. But yeah, if you do want your own, sharps disposal, I'll try to look for, what other resources provides it. But right now I'm seeing that like Prevention Point, they offer those for free for anyone who wants one.
That's a great point. And we did hear from Julie that I think TTF is going to be getting a couple sharps containers. It's definitely something we're aware of. And I do want to say that no one should be, don't pick up anything you're not comfortable picking up. We see some dangerous stuff out there sometimes, broken glass, needles. So yeah, don't do anything that you think is dangerous or anything. I think needle handling training is a great idea. So I've made a note of that. Gwen knows a carpenter, Siani. I don't know if you've seen the chat. So I would love to see that happen. What else? My mind just went blank. We only have about 12 minutes left. So does anyone have any comments or questions they want to share? I want to make sure everyone has time to be heard if you haven't had a chance to say anything yet.
Did that April 5th, I think it was an April 5th meeting with the city to request money for Parks and Recreation, did that take place? There was some kind of meeting or hearing or something that was supposed to take place.
She's thinking of the budget hearings. That's next month. So there's still time to sign up for public testimony, Judy. You still got time.
When is it? Exactly. I thought it was this month.
Well, it was this month that the mayor released his budget. And then the hearings will be next month.
Did he release any money for Parks and Recreation or for us or anything for us? For Parks and Recreation?
I don't know off the top of my head. Marissa, do you know?
So he did restore a lot of the budget that was cut from previous years. But from COVID, that is, but there is still a $2.9 million gap between what the budget was for the year before COVID hit for the fiscal year 2020, either 2020 or 2019. It happens in June, so it's kind of weird. I think this year is fiscal year 2022. So we're 2.9 million less than we were before COVID hit. So
Okay.
there's that.
Okay. We're not going to be able to get that, or is that just a preliminary suggestion, or is that like the final
The budget
budget?
he presented was a proposal. And so there is still this month of here. There's the final budget. And so there are plenty of opportunities for you to reach out and share what you think money should be spent on.
And we'll
Okay.
share that info, Julie, how people can get in touch and submit comments, because we definitely want that money.
I will say, so I have the schedule open. So hearings for the budget start May 3rd, but in terms of public testimony, it would be May 26th if we're trying to discuss Parks and Rec, because the other days are focused on Health and Human Services and Office of Children and Families and the school district. So the particular day you'd aim for, I guess, is May 26th.
Parks and Recreation is actually now under the depart or whatever the sorry, it's new and I'm still getting used to it, but the children's services.
Okay, there we go. So May 5th as well. So there's 3 dates for public testimony, but one of them is for the school district. So those other 2 dates.
Yeah, Jess, we will email out that information.
It's under children's services because of the recreation centers, I guess.
Yes.
Yes,
That's
Marissa's
probably-
nodding.
Sorry, I forgot you're on the phone.
Yeah, we have some callers. Okay. All right.
Where is it held at? These here, where the public can go. Where is it held at?
It's all being held virtually because of COVID. So some people, they use either Microsoft Teams or you could call in. I've been sitting in a bunch of these meetings, so that's why I have these information, but it's all virtual at the moment.
Okay.
And Dorian just shared a link to an email that we had sent out about the budget. Has a link on how to share public comments, but we'll send that out again as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so in terms of cool sightings, behind me, you see a couple of hooded mergansers, which are cool ducks. I saw an osprey, which I'd never seen before. And then I'll show you this guy.
Yeah, what? Ooh.
It's a pileated woodpecker. So, you know, Woody Woodpecker, this is who he's named after. So this was really cool. They've been seen farther north in the park, but this is down towards, you know, towards Fisher's Lane Bridge, actually up in the cemetery, but really cool to see.
That is great.
Did you take that picture?
Yes,
That is great.
still trying to get better ones. His face is just a little blurry, so I'm still working on it.
Are you going to submit this for the photo contest?
I'm hoping, hopefully I'm gonna get a better one. So I'm gonna, you know, it's gonna be him and the Merlin and a few other cool things. So we'll see how it goes.
Oh yeah,
It's good to
Dorian.
get things that are in the creek. I know that's like, if you get the creek in the picture, that's a big deal. So if anybody knows how to Photoshop a pileated woodpecker, like a boat in
Just
the
hovering
Tacony
above
Creek,
the creek.
I'll go halfies with you on the prize.
That's wonderful. Yes, and for those that don't know, yes, we have the photo contest that's open TTF watershed wide. So you're still in time to submit any photos that you see, not just in Tacony Creek Park, but within the watershed and all the neighborhoods around Tacony Creek Park. You have until May 15, and there are cash prizes for adults, youth between 13 and 18, and for children under 12.
You can do double duty and also submit it for the Philly tree stories.
Ah, yeah, good point.
Double your chance of winning something.
Exactly.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yes.
Do you, I think I submitted one last year, or the year before, but it didn't work because it was a cell phone picture. Is it true that you have to take, like, are they accepting cell phone pictures, or does it have to be taken with an actual camera? Do you know that?
Yeah, we are accepting cell phone pictures. I think you have to make sure that I think you should be able to adjust the settings from your camera phone. You want to make sure that it is the highest resolution, highest megapixel, so that
Okay.
so it's the highest quality. Because it's all about, you know, being able to print it. Because I know that for website, a resolution of 72 is good enough for website, but we are looking to print out the winning photos. So they would need to be ideally at least a resolution of 300. So yeah, I know that in order to conserve space on the phone memory, it might default to a lower megapixel range or low setting. So make sure you raise that so that way you get a higher quality resolution photo from your phone. You should be able to.
Okay, so I could just submit it. I could just submit it, and then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, right? You guys would just let me know if it wasn't.
Right. Yeah.
If it wasn't usable.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
We're able to see on the back end the info that gets attached on your photo, what the resolution is, and I don't know if Pete, I don't know if you have any other recommendations in terms of raising up, like making sure you have a high quality photo.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. It's going to be in your phone settings on your phone. And I think also it had to be like the right size last time too. It had to be a particular, this many pixels by that many pixels too. So yeah, it takes a little finagling. I mean, there's a free software I have called Earfon View, IRFANVIEW, and that's free, and that's what I use to like edit my pictures and stuff. And but yeah, you have to. I think Dorian's right about the phone. You probably have to adjust it, and then you might have to also adjust the pixel, like the height by the width.
Can you add that software name in the chat? I think that might be a good resource to include. But yeah, once you increase the settings, that should be good.
I really want to see a beaver. I've seen the trees that they've chewed on, but I haven't seen a live one.
Oh, I've seen the beaver.
Oh
He's
my
out.
gosh.
He's out on. He's out on H Street, that strip between Wyoming and Ramona, and he likes to eat the trees along that strip closer to the Ramona Gateway. Not up to by Wyoming Avenue, but directly across the street from Cortland, H and Cortland. He likes to, on that strip, he likes to chew on those trees, and I've seen him many times.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to go camp out. I really want to see it.
And Robin saw one below Rising Sun Bridge, but I never saw it. But you gotta, some of this stuff you kind of got to be in the creek a little bit to.
Yeah,
to
I'm not
look at
gonna.
it. Got a pair of waders you could borrow, Susan.
Yeah, we do have some at the office.
He's big.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. All right. Well, does anyone else have anything they want to mention? Any cool things going on or cool things they saw in the park?
I don't have any cool things, but I just wanted to say hello. My name is Monica Hicks Gallatin. I'm a park ranger for Parks and Recreation, and I've been enjoying the conversation and like listening to all the cool things that you guys are up to. And I'm going to try to be better at staying in contact with the TTF. And I would like to support your programs more, but when I hear about what times they are, it's really difficult, but I'm still going to try to do whatever I can to support anything that you guys are doing. But I am going to say in advance that it's going to be tough because there's only about like maybe 14 rangers for the whole city. And there's 5, including myself, for the Northeast, and that's Tacony, Pequesing, Pennypack, and all the rec centers and playgrounds in between.
We know.
But we are committed to FERCO still, so that's, but I still would like to be able to do more.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Monica.
I'm glad I was able to make it this time.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Monica. It's good to hear from you.
It's nice to see you, Dorian.
Yes. I didn't realize it was you.
Oh wait, let me see if I put my camera. My house is so junky. That's why I didn't put my camera on. Okay. Oh, I was a little close.
Hello.
Monica, are you a city employee?
Yes, I work for Parks and Recreation.
Okay, I wonder if we could ask for more money for more of you guys.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yes.
Oh, my kids. Oh, this is like I'm right behind a box. I shouldn't. Oh my God.
What hours do the park rangers work in Tacony Creek Park?
So we are there just passing by right now, but starting May, they're going to be there between 12 and 5. And then on the weekends, we should be there between, I think it's 10 and like 6 or so. But we kind of bounce between the Frankfurt boat launch over by the Dietz and Watson. So we kind of bounce between that location and Ferco to try to cover those 2 spots.
Wonderful. That's
Oh,
good
that's
to know.
great to know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's awesome. Well, we hope you can join in the future, Monica. We hope to
Yeah.
see you out there. And
hopefully.
yeah, thanks for a great meeting, everyone. If you have, any questions, comments, or concerns, you know how to get in touch with me and Dorian. We'll send out Marissa's email if you have any tree questions. She's the one to go to. And yeah, stay safe, everyone. Enjoy the park, and we'll see you next month.
Okay.
Have a good rest of your night.
Bye.
Thank
Have a
you.
good one,
Thank you. Are we
guys.
going to be meeting
Thank
every
you.
month then for
Have a
sure?
good evening.
Bye.